Hey guys, and welcome back to this channel. Happy New Year! I hope you had a fantastic 2022, and if it wasn't the best, we have a new one. We have a new one to write our stories. Yes, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being with me in 2022, and welcome to 2023, where we're experiencing everything in greater heights. Last year we left something or hanging, that is the Psychology of Money part 2. I had promised that I'll shoot during the holidays, but the holidays got hectic. I didn't make to shoot, and here we are to clear up that one so that we can now start the year afresh. So in this video, we are talking about the last 10 chapters, that is from chapter 11 to chapter 20 of the Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Yeah, so on chapter 11, he says, be reasonable, not coldly rational. Being reasonable in this context, he explains it as a way to give room for your human nature. You're a human being. You're not a spreadsheet. You have emotions, you have family, you have children, you have a spouse. All these things affect how you use your money. Maybe not directly, but in an emotional way. There is something that your spouse wants, but you don't have the money. You will go to an extreme of getting them, maybe in the name of impressing him or her, but it's not a wise financial decision. So when you're planning for your money, just give room for your human nature. You're not a spreadsheet that just points out this thing you're supposed to use 1,500 and it's 1,500. You're a human being. So when you're planning for all your finances, this is in investment, in personal finances, that is like budgeting, like the bills. You're a human being, so give room for your human nature. And in this chapter, he gives an example of a guy who was treating neurosyphilis using malaria medicine. At first, people didn't believe him. At first, people saw him as a mad person, but in 1927, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, in 1927, he won the Nobel Peace Prize because of how he had invented a way to cure that disease, or rather to mitigate the disease. Yeah, so in that example, he shows you how you can use something else, not something that has been the norm as things happen. So in this chapter, it's about allowing a chance for your human nature. Don't be coldly rational on yourself. Don't beat yourself down when you go the wrong way, because let's say, for example, you have saved some 10,000 in an account. You have specified this for this and this. Then at that moment, your child gets sick. What will you do? You'll go get the money, take the child to hospital, or use the money for the medical bill. Why? Because you're a human being. The human nature at that moment cannot allow you just to keep the money in the bank and your child is sick. So when you're planning for all your finances, when you're doing all your budgeting, I'm talking about budgeting because that is where I am. The greatest financial thing I do with myself is to budget. Yeah, so when you're doing all that, give room for your human nature and don't beat yourself down. If at any moment you go wrong, don't beat yourself down. You can always come back and continue with the journey. In the next chapter, he talks about surprise. This one we can all relate. Because we are here when COVID-19 happened. We have never experienced such a thing. Then all of a sudden we have a pandemic. We are not supposed to go to church. We're supposed to be quarantined. People are dying, and we were like, most of us, it was our first time to experience such a thing. So we were like, okay. And I know most of us as Kenyans, or maybe even outside country, people had not planned for such a thing, that we can be indoors for 6 months. We are paying bills. We are eating. We are everything is catered for by our savings. We were not ready. Personally, I was affected. Maybe you can leave in the comment section whether you were affected, but I know that thing caught most of us by surprise. So this world will have so many surprises. Some we do not know, some even we have not fathomed about, but they will come. And will you be prepared financially? So this is encouraging you to be ready for surprise. And being ready for any surprise, I think, is having some surplus somewhere. You have some 3 million saved somewhere for nothing, just maybe when that surprise comes. So in your financial goals, in your everything, just put that room for surprise. Maybe something will just pop. You don't know, you don't even know what to do at that moment, but at that moment that thing comes, just be prepared. Have some financial muscle to hold that thing. That is on chapter 12. Be prepared for any surprise financially. So I hope you're taking notes somewhere. Just imagine which surprise can happen to a person. Let me think of something. This has haunted me. I think I have very many fake scenarios in my mind, but this has always haunted me. I just imagine most of the time I'm coming from work, then I come home and nyumba yangu imechomeka yote. I know it's weird, but I normally think of that thing. If I come to my place and when I'm at the gate I see, oh my God, nyumba zilichomeka zote. What can I do? That is a surprise. That is a disaster I was not prepared for. But what can I do at that moment? Am I prepared financially? Am I ready to set on and go now? So be prepared of anything. Anything might come to you by surprise, and please be prepared about it. No one knows, no one will tell, but maybe something will come by surprise. Are you prepared about it? Please be. Yeah, on the next chapter, that is chapter 13, is leave room for error. Just leave some financial room for error. Like when you're budgeting, you want to go and buy something, but specifically you don't know the price. There are sometimes we give a range of the price. The price can be around 3,000 to 3,500. Yeah. So leave that room for error. In case things do not go the way you expect, what will happen? Let's say you're investing in stocks and you're predicting by 3 years the stocks will have risen by 3%. Then your specific is 3%. Then the profit you will get, you will invest in something else, maybe buying a house or something, but the stocks do not rise by the 3%. They rise by 1.9. What will you do? Is the investment you had planned for able to accommodate the 1.9, or it was specifically for the 3%? So in any planning about your financial, especially investment, leave some room for error, because you never know what will happen. You never know. He says there is some gap between what you want to happen and maybe what will happen. So for that room of you are not certain what will happen, just leave some room for error, so that when it happens, you'll not be caught by surprise. Yeah, the other chapter we have discussed, you'll not be caught by surprise. You will have prepared for the room of error. That is on chapter 13. He talks about the room for error, and there is a point I want to read for you guys. The biggest single point of failure with money is sole reliance on paycheck to fund short-term spending needs, to fund short-term spending needs with no savings to create a gap between what you think your expenses are and what they might be in the future. So, watu wa paycheck. Like, you wait for your paycheck like you are dying. You're like, if it doesn't reflect today, tomorrow I'm sleeping hungry. So he says that is the biggest single point of failure, is to rely on your paycheck to fund short-term spending needs with no savings to create a gap between what you think your expenses are at the moment and what they might be at the future. Yes, oh God, I can't believe that unga is from 90 forever. We will never go back to unga at 90. It's so sad. Like, we're buying unga at 200. Which Kenya is this? But as all of you are saying out there, Neforo Yoge Kura, those who do not understand that language is when the country is growing, or when the country is developing. So imagine unga will never come back to 90. So your paycheck was catering for unga at 90. Now the unga is at 200. Will your savings cater for that unga with the same paycheck? Oh God, this is hitting me hard. You know, when you do a video, you're also talking to yourself and you're like, am I even prepared for this? But will the paycheck cater for the 200 shillings for unga? And it's still the paycheck you're buying the unga with at 90 bob. So when you're doing your savings, that is what you should be thinking about. Is your saving rate ready to cater for you when expenses go up but your paycheck remains the same? So guys, I think personally, if you're watching this video, I would like you to comment if you're feeling like there is a lot of work you're supposed to do. On the next chapter, oh God, I resonated with this one so much. You will change. You will change, and so is your financial goals. Right now, I'm 25. My financial goals right now will be totally different from what I'll be thinking at 30. And can I just mention, I'm really looking forward to meet the 30-year-old Terry. I'm really looking forward to meet her. So when you're at a younger age, maybe there is some people I look who are behind me, maybe at around 18, 19. Their greatest financial goal is maybe to buy a phone, because they don't have a smartphone, or maybe an iPhone. But right now for me, maybe at this moment, I'm starting to think of how maybe I can buy a house. But at 30, maybe now I'll be starting to think about how I should save for my kids' college fund. And at 40, now I'll start thinking about, am I even ready to retire? So it's a changing cycle. When you're at each age, your financial goals are different. And he recommends not to do the goals at extremes, because when you change and you did something in the past at an extreme level and now it has changed, you will most probably regret of what you did. So at this point, he recommends that you do your goals in moderation. And he mentions something in this chapter, that is chapter 14, that you will change, about that only 30% people are doing some jobs or careers in the fields let me repeat that. He says that only 30% of the people are doing careers or jobs in the fields that they studied in. Like you studied psychology, you are now a psychologist. Only 30% of the people, and on the other 70%, I'm there. How are you guys doing about this? But I'm there. And he says that is how financial goals are. Like you can plan something at your 22 year, when you're at 22, but when you're at 30, you're like, what was that? What was I doing? So at any stage of your life, just plan your financial goals in moderation. Like right now, most of us, maybe we are dying in 8 to 5. And in the future, you will regret why you were sticking in 8 to 5 and you didn't have any family time. So in that context, he recommends just do your job in moderation, meet your family in moderation, so that in future you will not regret so much. No, not even regret. You'll be satisfied but by how you handled yourself at that age. Yeah. So on that one, it's you will change, your financial goals will change, and so do them in moderation. Moderation is the word. And he talks of an author. We have an author there. We have Jason Zweig or Zeg, I don't know the pronunciation. We have Jason and Daniel Kahneman. They were doing a certain book. So when Jason came to Daniel, they would do a script. Then later on, Daniel will call Jason and tell him, scrap that, we are doing this one afresh. And when Jason asked Daniel why he does that, he says that I have no sunk cost. Sunk cost is something you feel like you cannot come out of it because of how you have invested so much time in it. Let's talk of a toxic relationship. You're in a toxic relationship, but you have dated for 4 years. So you feel like you can't come out of the toxic relationship because you have invested so much time in it. That is what he's referring as sunk cost. So when Daniel would scrap everything they had done with Jason, he would say, I don't have that cost. I'll not stop starting something new because I had invested so much in the other thing. For me, I'll just start off. And that is something I'm learning. If something is not working for me, no matter how much I've invested, I just want to leave it and start afresh. Because he says, the earlier you leave the other thing, the earlier you will start the thing that is meant for you. And this, I'll come here for a story time one day, but this has happened in a business that I had started. And it was so hard, so hard to let it go. And it has costed me really a lot. I'll do that one as I'm doing a video on goal setting and everything, but have no sunk cost. If something is not working for you, just leave it away and go the other way, because you have already changed. You see it's not making sense to you, but the thought of you have invested so much time in it, you don't want to leave it. So just have zero sunk cost. If it's not working, I'm leaving, I've changed, and leave room for your change. Because the financial goals you're setting right now maybe will not be the financial goals you will be expecting in 5 years. On the next chapter, we have nothing is for free. That is chapter 15. Nothing is for free. And he says there are so many prices we have to pay, but some prices do not have a label on them. Let's talk of an investment. You have invested in a certain company. Yes, you have said you will invest for the next 20 years. Then the prices starts going down. I know the anxiety, the doubt, the stress that you're going through, that is the price you have to pay for that company. Maybe this company will just go down for 1 year, then it shoots back. But at that 1 year, just imagine yourself in your bed at night, imagining that this company is going down. Will you sleep well at night? That is the price you have to pay for everything. And I think on chapter 15 specifically, it was about investment, because most investments work better with time. But within that time, it will not be a smooth ride that the prices are going up and up and up and up. There are days that it will be going down. It will be going down. But how will you manage your fear? How will you manage your anxiety at that point? How will you manage what you're feeling at that point? So that is what he's calling that the price without a label on it. So I know people I'm not here. I have nothing against what were forex, but I can imagine when you're seeing the stakes going down and you're there on your laptop, the fear, the anxiety, the sweating, that is the price you have to pay for that thing. So everything you're investing on, there is a price you have to pay, and most prices do not have labels on them. So are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to hold the anxiety? Are you willing to hold the doubt? Are you willing to do all that in the name of paying for the price for this thing? So remember, nothing is for free. Those billionaires you're seeing out here, can I just mention Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and everyone else you know? There is a price they paid, but most of them do not talk about it. They do not talk about how they were having anxiety attacks when the stocks were going down, and they're there watching, feeling like they want to draw their stocks from the company, but they held on. So for this one, just remember there is a price you have to pay, and nothing is for free. On chapter 16, this one also resonated with me. So on chapter 14, that is my favorite chapter for the 10 chapters that you will change and your financial goals will change. And now on chapter 16, we have you and me. And also this one resonated with me. This is because most people copy people in investment, in managing their financial goals. And he gave an example of 3 colleagues in an office. We have a single mom, we have a person like me who doesn't have a family, who is not married, and we have a person with a with another who is married and have kids, and they're introduced to a certain investment. The way these three people will handle the investment is not the same, because this single parent know that he or she has to run the bills by herself. We have the person like me who is only herself. I only have bills to cater for myself, so I can venture into the program. We have the other person who is married. Is the spouse making money? Are they able to run the bills if the investment they're about to get into goes down? So he says that everyone's game is different. We have people who are investing in stocks because they have someone who is terminally ill and they need to cater for the bill. So they're imagining within the next 3 years, this money will have gotten to this amount and I'll be able to cater for this hospital bill. We have another person who's just testing the waters. I have some 300k somewhere, I just need to put it somewhere to see how it will behave. And we have someone who is about to be kicked out of their house in maybe 2 years, or their house is being auctioned and they need to buy another home within the 3 years. So everyone's game is different. So be very careful from whose game you're copying from, because you might be copying from someone whose game is just, they have nothing else to do, so they thought of just trying this thing out. So be very careful of what you venture in and understand your own game. Which game am I playing? Am I ready for this? Is this catering for what I need? So be very careful of who gives you financial advice and what you take from the financial advice, because everyone's game is different, everyone's worries are different, everyone's needs are different. And I think I need to give a shout out to what can I call her? She's a personal financial management coach or something like that, called Juliet Odhiambo. You can check her out in Instagram or on her platforms. She says she cannot give you advice without understanding you as a person, because she doesn't know your needs. She doesn't know if there is some hospital bill you cater for. She doesn't know if you're living in a rental or in your own home. So she needs to first of all understand you as a person, your needs, and then she can be able to give you advice. So on There Is You and Me, that chapter is awesome. If you just want to skim through the book, please read chapter 14 and chapter 16. There Is You and Me, and everyone's game is different. Then we go to chapter 17. Chapter 17 is about pessimism. I didn't get a lot from this chapter, but it talks about seduction of pessimism. The way pessimism sells. Like if something is on the negative side, it really sells. Even on the news, something negative, it really sells. It really sells because people just, I don't know if people just want to hear bad news or something, but it really sells. So he says, when you're being talked to about something and it's in a negative state, I don't know why people jump into, because he says, let me read this point. It takes a long time to point out something good. He says that in the last 30 years, the medicine field has really grown, but to point out a specific event, it's hard. But when you look at it at a long-term level, it is showing that it has really grown. I don't have much to say on this chapter because I didn't get much from it, but the bottom line is that negative sells. So watch yourself, watch what you think about, watch what you go to, but negative sells. I don't have much to say about that one. Then on chapter 18, he says that you will believe in anything. And I agreed with him. Okay, in chapter 18, he talks about you will believe in anything if at all you don't have information about it. And he talks of a man who took his son to be treated. And the person who was treating the son said that they have to do a hole on the heart. That is in the past. And because that guy had no money to take the son for treatment, he opted for that option. So he also he also goes back to chapter 1 where he says no one is crazy, because he says that when you do not have information about something, or you do not know how to make sense out of something, you will believe in anything. Yeah, and he said that in the past, people, when they got sick, they used to be poked some holes as a form of treatment so that they can get well. But on the other side, they used to die more quickly. Why did people agree to be poked some holes? Because they didn't have anything better to believe in. Yeah, so if you do not have information about something and the stakes are too high, you will believe in anything. So please watch out what you believe in. Just be able to discern, are you believing in this because you do not have information about it, or are you believing in this because truly this is what is supposed to be. This is what it is. This is the fact. And he talks of a young child who sees the father go to work. Like, he mentions the daughter. When he was working, the daughter would see him leave and come back. So the daughter had some way of interpreting what was happening, and it also clocked on me, like, when a child sees you go to work, I don't know what they think. Do they think that you're going to work because bills need to be paid or something? But they just see you go to work and come back. They have a way of interpreting that as per their own understanding. Also, all of us in the world have a way of interpreting something as per the level of the knowledge, knowledge that we have, as per the level of the knowledge we have. So be very careful what you think, and be very careful what you believe in. Yes, there is a point I want to read for you here. Risk is what is left over when you think you have thought everything out. There are many times that we feel that we have really planned ourselves, but all of a sudden, boom, surprise. And you hadn't planned for that. So you remember the room for error, leave that room, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, on chapter 19, this was also my favorite chapter. So from chapter 10 to chapter 20, I have 3 chapters that I really loved. That is chapter 14. Is it chapter 14? Let me confirm. Yeah, chapter 14, you will change. Chapter 16, there is you and me and our game is different. And we also have the chapter 19. On chapter 19, he talks about, he puts it all together, what he has talked about in the book, everything. So there are some few points I'll give out to you guys, and the first one is, remember, no one is crazy. No matter what they are doing with their money, no one is crazy. The second point is about investment. Investment works better with the compounding effect. The compounding effect is where you give it a long time, like 10 years or 12 years or a long time. Yeah, so compounding works better. Investment works better with time, and no one is crazy. We have become okay with most things going wrong. This is where he says that most things will not work as per your understanding, as per what you had thought it to be. Most things will work out differently, and it's okay. And let me see another. Yes, this one is also great. Wealth is what you do not see. Wealth is not what what am I saying? Wealth is what you don't see. So when you see people with flashy clothes, flashy cars, just know that wealth is what you do not see. And another one is respect the power of luck and risk. And do that when you're judging yourself, and also when you're judging others. This gives you a better chance to control the things you can. Yeah, so when you give the room for luck and risk, you can say that person became rich by luck, this is risk and everything. You give yourself some room to control what you can be able to control. And just, there is another point, is save. Just save. if you have some money, just save. Save is the whole point. Just save. And another one is worship room for error. What happens and what you need to happen. There is always what happens and what you need to happen. And avoid extremes. He said when you're doing any investment, just avoid extremes. Yeah. And I think I'll give you what I've learned about this book now personally, from my personal point of view. I think that my takeaway home point is that thing you're getting into able to make you sleep better at night? If it's making you sleep better at night, go for it. If it's not making you sleep better at night, just leave it. Because he says that it's good to understand that you can have less than others, but it's enough for you. In chapter 20, he talks about his own financial management, and he says him and his wife, they moved in together at their 20, and after they got a decent car, a decent apartment, decent food and everything, the next thing they did was to buy a house. They bought a house without a mortgage, which he says is crazy as per the spreadsheet, but it makes them sleep better at night. And he said that his net worth, let me read for you. Where is his net worth? He says that his net worth is his house, some Vanguard shares, and okay, let me read for you the full statement. His net worth is a house, a checking account, and some Vanguard index funds. That is his net worth. He doesn't have much. He just have a house, a checking account, and some Vanguard index funds. And he says that he's just okay with just living a normal life. A life that he just have his house, his children are able to go to school, they are able to afford normal things like the food, the housing, and everything, and he's okay with that. He doesn't need to go chasing everything. And I think this is a reflection point for all of us. So if you're out there, you're getting into business, you're getting into forex, you're getting into the matatu industry, you're getting into stocks, you're getting into everything that is coming your way, are all those things able to make you sleep better at night? If they're not making you sleep better at night, I think it's now time to leave them. And I think the Psychology of Money is a very good read, and I loved it. And I think I can give the ups of the book and the downs of the book. The ups of the book is, it's not a book that is from a negative point of view, like you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. I think it's a book that is giving you some room for being a human being. You can just manage your money in a human being way, if that makes sense. Like you can just be human and manage your money. I think the other point I love about the book is the examples. In every chapter, he has a story to relate the chapter with to relate what he's saying in the chapter with the story that he will give. And all of his stories, they are real life stories. They are not just stories, they are things that happen. And it's not a long book. It's around 242 pages. And on the downside, I think it's written so much from an American context. I think the investment, the numbers, the indexes, they are all from the American point of view. So if you're thinking of the investment and you're using it as a book, it's hard to invest for it in Kenya because the stories, the context is from the American. And the other thing I didn't like about the book is there's so many figures. Okay, personally, I don't love figures. We have graphs in the book. We have some pie charts. We have everything. We have statistics from 1970 to 1932. This is what happened. Okay, that was too much for me. That is why I think I didn't get something on the seduction of pessimism, but it's a great book for insights. I hope this video has inspired you at least to read some of the chapters. you have gotten a point or two. And if you have not watched the first part of the 10 chapters, you can check it out. Thank you guys for always being here. If you have not subscribed, please, it's now time to subscribe. Let's take this channel to 1,000 subscribers in 2023. And I'm so grateful for all the support you give me. This year we are going bigger and better, and we are working on consistency. We are working on great content, and I hope this year I manage to bring other people in this channel. And I love you guys, and thank you for always being here. Please remember to subscribe. That is it for the Psychology of Money. Till next time, see ya.